I think what we do is essentially for the young people. When Macedonia became independent, I was 18, 19. I got my job at the Foreign Ministry at the age of 23, graduating at the Faculty of Law, not too far from here. No one then really asked me for a party membership card. There was a big competition. I got the job. And then I grew up in the context of my diplomatic practice. We lost maybe one whole generation in the waiting room. Dignity is important. Self-confidence is important. And I think when we talk about patriotism, patriotism must be related. I don't think we should shy away from this term. You cannot give patriotism to shallow nationalists or selfish nationalists. Patriotism is a dedication of a lifetime. It has to be about courage. So you have to have the courage to face the will of the people. The best way to do this is through a referendum. You have to have courage to face what Michael was talking about, to assume your responsibility. For any foreign minister of Macedonia, the easiest thing to do was to shelve the difficult dispute we had with Greece in a drawer and leave it there. And you can, I can hit my lungs here, and I can say big words against the neighbors. I can complain about how the world is so unfair, and there is no justice. But you have to face reality, face problems, have the self-confidence and the courage to resolve them to the best of your ability. I think for this country, we don't live in an island. We live in a region that still faces issues and uncertainties. It's really important for the future of our country, of Macedonia, to join NATO so that we don't ask what kind of borders we will have in 5 years from now or 10 years from now. It is really important to catch this train because Europe is busy. Europe is itself in a soul-searching process. All these crises with Brexit, the financial, the Eurozone, migration, the whole landscape, the political landscape of Europe is challenged with the migration crisis. So we don't really have time to waste. We don't know if there will be another train, so we have to catch this one. I don't think there will be all roses, even after catching the train. There will be sweat, there will be tears, but the best chance for our country to become a European democracy with good education, with politicians that will be accountable, with media that will be free, with judges that will be independent, is to catch that train. We will have to change our country, but we're going to do this easier in the context of the EU accession, which is essentially a reform tool. For me, and I am almost 46, this is the last chance for my generation to give a decent start to our next one. And my daughter is here in the audience. She is turning 19 soon. And we're going to do this. We're going to do this because it's bigger than the politics of today. And I'm going to end again with responsibility and patriotism. It must mean even, at times, a political self-sacrifice. After all, why are we doing this, if not for achieving something big? So I think we have a chance. It will take a number of years. Our job, and my job especially as a foreign minister, is by next June to make it embarrassing for any member state of the 28 not to be supportive of the start of the accession talks for Macedonia. And we're going to do this. 3 brief points. My favorite self-motivating motto in these last several years has been biде, which is sort of loosely translated, we will make it. And the first time I thought of it was with students when they organized themselves and made a difference. And that was the initial catalyst that made this new phase of the more mature Macedonia possible. So I want to say thank you to the students. It started with the young. This whole possibility we have is because of them. And this, also for me as a citizen of this country, is also, you know, a reassurance. I think we will make it. Second, the brain drain. All things, yes we can. Change is possible. All things considered, it is easier to find Europe in Germany or in the Netherlands. But it's much more fulfilling to make Macedonia European. And what kind of a generation we will be if we don't do our best to make that happen. And last point, a few days ago we marked the birthday of Nelson Mandela. And one of my favorite quotes of his is, "It always seems impossible until it's done. And no one else will do this but us. And we're going to make this happen." These months, these next few years, this is our chance of our generation. And it's so much, because I've been there, I've studied in the UK, I worked for a think tank in the Netherlands, I relatively well established myself in that world of think tanks and NGOs. You can never have an impact as big as the impact you can have in your own country. And our country are we. And in terms of corruption, this is my fourth, not well thought through. We saw with the students, we saw with the colorful revolution, people can make a difference. We still do mistakes, maybe too many. We correct most of them. And we correct most of them because people speak, they make a stand, they push, everything is in our hands. And we should not shy away. I'm going to end with this referendum. To me, we grew up in this fear of constant challenges on our identity. On the church, on the language, on whether we are Macedonians or not, on being afraid of our neighbors, of being afraid from Brussels. Someone else in an office is thinking about our future, ordering all, you know. This effort in 1 year and a month, essentially trying to accomplish things that we haven't done in the last 15 years before that, is an effort where we try to control our own destiny. And when we close the Macedonian question, art of the possible, under the real limits and constraints, but on our terms. And nothing good can come if you hide in the trenches of history. You have to get out, you have to face it, you have to move forward, and nothing good can come if you start a kicking exercise with your neighbors, be it Bulgaria or Greece. And the reason why in London the summit was mentioned, Macedonia was mostly talked about as a beacon of hope. I got a question, how do you feel with the burden of being the only country that represents a hope for a real democracy in the Balkans? This is a question I got from someone who was, I don't know, maybe Serbia, maybe another country. We did this, and it started with the students, with the young. So let's do this.